Hello, welcome to the More You NoCo, a podcast about the people and ideas of Northern Colorado. I'm your host, Ivan Wayne. Let's see what we got. On this episode, I had the pleasure of sitting out back on the patio of Loveland Aleworks there in downtown Loveland with Nick Callaway, the head brewer and owner of Loveland Aleworks. Excuse the AC unit noise and the couple of trucks. It was an outside environment. The weather was nice. We wanted to do it out back. We thought that would work, and we made it do. Hope you like our conversation.
Well, it's Friday. I'm really happy it's Friday. We worked hard this week.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. You're bottling and everything?
Yeah, today we bottled up some American Sour Ale with peaches, and then they were brewing a milkshake IPA beer that's going to have peach juice in it that was pressed in Palisade, Colorado. A blend of different peaches, so
right.
It's pretty exciting.
One thing I was going to ask is how do you bottle and distribute to anywhere around here? Or?
So we're all self-distributed. We only bottle in 22-ounce bottles right now. We're trying to get financing and get a canning line ordered to start putting our beer into 16-ounce cans. Yeah. But everything right now is in 22-ounce and self-distributed. We got a Prius and a pickup truck, and we send those from South Denver to North Fort Collins, and all the way west to Estes Park and east to Greeley, so that we're in liquor stores and primarily like the bigger liquor stores because we're all in the bombers. So
right. So
a lot of the smaller neighborhood stores won't have a large format bottle section,
for
or at least a refrigerated one. We're like all of our liquor stores have to have refrigerated space.
Okay.
We don't let our beer sit warm shelf.
Right. Oh, okay.
So that's one of the things that's kind of like it's a quality issue. So we don't want the beer sitting in a sunny corner of the liquor store or something. Like that shelf right next to the window.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris is here. He said you was gonna let me borrow a couple gaskets for a coupler.
Oh yeah, he needs a couple. Sorry.
No, you're good.
He needs a couple of neoprene washers and a CO2 washer. Just part spinning back.
One thing before we get back, try not to hit the table.
I do that every time there's an interview.
Yeah.
I'm so bad about that. The last guy, he was doing some beer training videos with me, and I think I ruined most of his content from smacking the table. I'll just stand over.
Dude, I had no idea, but the first interview was destroyed because we were hitting the table a lot.
You might as well have just interviewed a kindergartner about why they like blue, because you're never going to be able to use it.
Yeah. So what happens if the beer that you bottle in the bombers?
Oh, so it's possible, since our beer is unfiltered and unpasteurized, to get secondary fermentation in the bottle. Uh-huh. It's less likely to happen when the beer is cold, and then also just sunlight is bad for beer in general.
Right.
Certain beer that's in clear or green glass will actually taste skunky if it's hit by the sun.
Huh.
I
had heard some stuff about that, but I didn't know. I don't know the science behind it.
Heineken and Grolsch. Newcastle tastes good so long as it's wrapped up in kind of tastes good, I guess. And it doesn't have flaws because of being light struck. If it's in a cardboard box, the 12-pack versus a 6-pack, those clear bottles. So brown glass helps filter out the wavelength of visible light that skunks beer.
Yeah. So are you from Colorado or?
No, I'm from North Carolina. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved out to Colorado in 1997.
Okay. What brought you out here?
I came out for college.
Dang.
Yeah, so I went to UNC for a year, and then I went home for a summer, saved up some money, spent some money. I went on a fish tour, and then came back out here and moved to the mountains and lived up in the ski resorts for 3.5 years.
Oh, dang.
Being a ski bum. I worked in restaurants and ski shops. So restaurants in the summer mostly.
Yeah.
And ski shops in the winter. Tune shops. I really like tuning skis. That was the place to be.
Yeah, what mountains did you work at?
Vail Valley, Vail, Beaver Creek. And I never worked actually for the ski resort. I was always I worked for a shop or a restaurant. I worked out at State Bridge Lodge for a summer, which was really cool.
Yeah.
It's a little spot on the Colorado River. Used to be like this roadhouse and lodge, but in the early 2000s there was a fire there and it completely burned this place down. It had been there since the 1880s.
Oh, dang.
So, yeah, I worked at State Bridge. Lived in a teepee in a tent for a summer, and then worked at a couple different pizza joints and
Dang.
Breeze Max ski and snowboard rentals.
Yeah.
And yeah, just tried to go skiing every day. Tried to go snowboarding every day.
Right.
So
dang. Yeah, I lived in Colorado for like 4 years, and I had heard about like ski bum culture and working up there just so you could get back to the slopes. But you're probably
it was
first.
Fun. I mean, I was I was up there from when I was like 19 to 21 or 19 to 22, something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And when I finally went back to school, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, I want to do science and math of some sort, or machining maybe, or
you didn't know.
Yeah, some sort of hands-on type thing. I don't know. But I still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went back to UNC and I got involved in like all the prerequisites to go into biology and go through the biology program there. And I got derailed and went into physics and engineering. So
I don't know. I've ever heard of anyone get derailed into physics.
Well, I was taking the
derailed out.
I was taking the physics requirement for biology, the biology program and the science program there at UNC in Greeley, and I was helping people in lab, and you always show up a few minutes early for class, and people usually, the one thing you have in common is your homework problems or what was the subject of what you're studying, if you're like even kind of engaged in what you're going to class for.
Right.
So you talk to your neighbors and whatnot. So I'd be talking to people, and there usually be one really hard problem on all the homeworks, and so people talk about that. So it's helping people with those and helping people in lab, and I did well on. I hit the table, and I did well on tests and stuff, and the professor was like, "Oh, dude, you should take a few more physics classes just for fun." And so start taking the classes and say, "Oh yeah, this is what I want to do."
So did you graduate with physics?
Yeah, engineering and physics from UNC in 2000.
Something.
6, maybe? 5 or 6? Yeah, 2006, I think.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you came out of the mountains to come back to UNC in Greeley.
Yeah, I went down I was from out of state, so I had my first year of college. I paid out of state tuition, just a lot of money. Like I think it was like $16,000 for 2 semesters or something. And then, as a freshman, you had to pay for the dorms, and they get the out of state students more for everything because you don't pay Colorado taxes. You're from out of state. Fucking transplant. So yeah, I had spent 3 years as a ski bum, and I didn't realize that even though I had been paying taxes on my own, living on my own, making enough money to scratch by up in the mountains, that I was still considered a dependent of my parents, and they didn't live in Colorado at the time.
Because of your age, or
a combination of age and being out of state, and just how they make how in the early 2000s they made the decision of who was to pay out-of-state tuition and who was to pay in-state. And it was crazy. By the time I got all the stack of paperwork together, I think I was like a month or 2 away from automatically being old enough to just automatically be emancipated for my folks and not have to pay that out-of-state tuition. But there's a few months there, like I came back, I took a summer class, it was still crazy expensive, just kind of like get back into the swing of things, and then realized, I'm still, like, I'm going to take another semester off. I've already relocated down to Greeley. So my neighbor at the time, Jeremiah, got me a job helping out in the oil field, doing perforating, wireline, just basically like screwing stuff onto the end of a wire line and sending it down an oil well, and going around location to location and popping tires on trucks and just kind of just rednecking around in the oil field, doing the oil well service. And I was learning about how all that worked and learning a little bit about geology and a lot about engineering and pipelines and
Right.
shaped explosives.
And this was
all
while
that.
you were at UNC?
No, this was like, so I had taken a class and then I didn't have enough money to pay out of state tuition, so I went to work in the oil field
yeah.
with my neighbor. It was like, I just met this dude and he was like, hey, you can come work with me, dude. It's cool. Anyway, I'm still really good friends with Jeremiah. So
Wow.
he'll be a lifelong friend, I'm sure. But yeah, so I worked in the oil field with him and, got kind of curious about signals and photomultiplier tubes and scintillation style detectors and all that kind of like really technical stuff of how they figure out where the oil's at and where the gas is at.
Any of those words. So.
Oh yes, it's science.
Right.
So but yeah, I just I got all my shit together and then as soon as I was considered a Colorado resident and in-state person. I went to school, no worries. It was a piece of cake to pay. I think it's like $2,500 a semester at the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like double that now.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's expensive. Yeah, yeah. Teaching at UNC though, if you're lucky enough to get 2 part-time spots at UNC, then your tuition gets paid for. So.
Is it work study or whatever?
Yeah, so I get free school there. So that's been super nice.
So you're a teacher's assistant as well as?
Yeah, they call us TAs, which we kind of find offensive because we are the instructor of record. We make jokes about that. So we go to trainings and it's like teacher assistant training, but we are the teacher. It's probably because we're young and we're still grad students.
Yeah, it's a relic of having TAs in the undergraduate program, I'm sure.
Yeah. And there are TA spots where you are like sitting in the back, you help grade, but I'm like up in front of 100 people delivering stuff. So
when I was a TA at UNC and I did poorly. I hardly ever got the homework graded in time. Sorry, Dr. Walsh. And but I always showed up for lab. I was always there. I guess that's probably. In hindsight, like just the fact that I always showed up was probably really sweet.
Right.
Even if I didn't grade the homework.
Yeah. Better than some.
Oh, and that stuff will really pile up. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were, before I moved out here from Dallas, Texas, I never even heard of Greeley. How did you find about UNC from North Carolina?
I was a really shitty high school student. And
okay.
And no, I had bad grades and good scores, and like somewhere like CSU or CU wasn't going to take somebody with a 2-point something GPA,
right?
But UNC will if you've got they'll give you a chance, yeah.
Yeah, and look at you, owner of a brewery.
No, in my first semester, my first year, I pretty much flunked out. So they gave me a chance, and
right.
When I came back, I was on academic probation already, right out the gates. It's kind of harsh.
But you did it.
Oh, yeah. I went to class.
Right.
You got to show up, right?
Yeah. So you eventually majored in physics, right? Graduated with that.
Physics and engineering. And then my last semester, I helped a friend open up a brewery. And because I knew I wanted to be part of a brewery. I was learning how to make beer at the same time I was going to UNC and studying.
Yeah, outside of physics.
Yeah, outside of the biology and
crazy.
physics part. I was really active in our homebrew club, the Brunion Colony Homebrew Club, which in the years I was a part of it nearly went extinct because liquor enforcement, the local liquor cops were telling us that we couldn't bring our homebrews into a liquor licensed premises like a restaurant.
Right.
And so we had trouble with that, and then also the place we were meeting at closed for a while. I think most of the breweries in Greeley closed for a while.
Really? They had breweries?
Yeah, Union Colony Brewery, UCB closed down, and then Jeff Crabtree bought all that old stuff, and then, it was Smiling Moose, then the Shack, and then Pitcher Sports Shack, or Pitchers.
Yeah.
It went through a few iterations, a few incarnations there.
Right.
And I think that place is still vacant, right?
Pitchers?
What used to be Pitchers at
I'm pretty sure, unless something went in there recently.
25th Street and...
Yeah.
or 20.
Yeah, and 11th Ave.
25th Street and 11th Ave.
Yeah.
There you go. It's been a while.
Right by the Carl's Jr.
Yep.
Yeah. Dang. So you were in physics as an undergrad, and then you were
Making beer.
yeah, and then you popped out of college.
Yeah, working with Jeff Crabtree, helping open his place, and then I got
dang.
a job in an engineering office there in town, Pickett Engineering. It
Yeah.
was on 8th Street. It was on 8th and 8th, pretty much 8th Street and 8th Avenue
Oh,
in
yeah.
downtown Greeley,
Dang.
right near where Brick's Tap House is now.
Oh, right.
Brick's Brewery and Tap House, across the street from there. But yeah, and then it was like the Crabtree thing petered out because he was just getting started and couldn't really. It wasn't going to work with me working there on the weekends and in the engineering office Monday through Friday. And,
Right.
And he was just starting out. Like I made 15 batches of beer there by the time we got it opened, and in 2006, May of 6.
Oh, dang.
And yes, and I was back into the garage, amateur brewer from 2006 until we opened Aleworks in 12.
Okay. So for those 6 years, were you still working at the engineering firm? the whole
Yeah,
time?
so the housing crisis happened 2006, 2008. Our office shrank a whole bunch. People moved on, and they didn't replace folks, and the office just kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until they sold the firm to a bigger engineering company that wanted to get into this market. And I think if that deal hadn't happened, actually I'm sure of it, if that deal hadn't happened where Pickett sold his company to Lamper and Earson, I would have been laid off, would have been out of a job.
Yeah.
So, and the whole time I was working there, I was applying to breweries. I applied to Odell, I applied to New Belgium, I applied a couple places.
Nobody hired you.
I couldn't
They're
get.
lost.
I couldn't get a good enough position that was like close to what I was doing, sitting at a desk doing AutoCAD and design and
Right.
civil work. And my experience in oil and gas helped me out in the civil engineering world because we were working for some oil and gas clients doing permitting and site design and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Making sure that the oil and gas clients are following all the rules,
Right.
laying their stuff out so that the rig's not going to tip over on a power line or something, or across a county road, or that's the rules are there to protect the public health and the
Right.
safety of the environment, all that stuff. It's really exciting.
Yeah. It's strange to think of an engineering firm downtown Greeley, because now it's just like bars and restaurants and
It's primarily entertainment down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a. Still don't think there's anything in that office space where the
really, yeah,
engineering couple. I think there's been a couple, fly by night type in and out businesses through there, but
yeah.
no, it's like become established.
Dang. So if it weren't for the housing bubble crisis of 2008, Loveland Aleworks may not have started.
Well, no, it still would have. I think, like if I had gotten a job at a brewery instead of sitting at a desk, and I really wasn't happy sitting at a desk.
Right.
I knew I wanted to make beer.
Yeah.
Started
So it was
making
like-
beer. Started making beer when I moved to Greeley. I've been hauling around all this glass carboy and small bottles and stuff a friend had given me while I was a ski bum, and
Right.
never could quite get planted good enough to make my first batch of beer up there. So
So when you first started making beer, just like in your garage,
I
did you
talked
make
to
some,
my
like terrible batches.
No,
with
it was
friends
all
always?
right. Jamie Atkinson and Will Johnston were my friends back then. Jamie was the brewer at Smiling Moose, and Will Johnston was at the Union Colony Brewery.
Yeah.
Will's made a career out of brewing.
Yeah.
He's still in brewing, and Jamie Atkinson still home brews and was a career brewer, but now I think he has some government gig. I don't know.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah, so those two guys came over and we mixed up some extract and boiled it up in the garage. And didn't have a heat exchanger at the time, so we sat it in a tub of water and just drank beers until it was cool enough. And
Yeah.
I think we probably fell asleep for a while, but yeah, and then ran it into a carboy and made it. It was like, what kind of beer is it? I don't know. It's brown beer.
Right.
But then from there, I just started, collecting equipment and making different beers. And
Right. So eventually did you get to a point where you were asking people you didn't know very well, hey, try this, what do you think, is this shitty?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. When you make your own beer, you put a lot of time and effort into it, and the people you share it with typically care about how you feel. So people will be really nice to you about your beer, even though it's skanky. And yeah, I definitely made skanky homebrew for a while there, but got to be better at sanitation and,
Right.
micro techniques and aseptic techniques and
Right.
how to make clean beer when you're in your basement 20 feet from your litter box.
Right.
Your cat's litter box. I had a cat back then. A couple cats.
Yeah.
So,
Do you need another beer?
absolutely.
Okay. He'll be
What
right
are you
back.
having? You had the Haze Bros.
Yeah, so what was this first
So
one
the
I
first
had?
was Haze Bros, or Tangerine Haze Bros.
Okay.
So it's like our
It was-
hazy pale ale with a whole bunch of orange zest. So it
Yeah.
should remind you like of a clementine.
Right. So the Tangerine Haze Bros.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then that's lever frame, the clear one. So this is just straight up pale ale.
And then what about this one?
That is from Palisade with Love. So that's a
Okay.
blend of
This
our
is-
sour golden ale and Palisade peach juice.
This is 10 out of 10. Like,
It's crazy.
my
good.
first drink, I was like,
It's kind of like juice. It's like is it beer? Is it juice? I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
okay,
And then the last one is the guava milkshake.
the guava milkshake. Okay, I'm going to try this guava milkshake beer. Also good, but I will say this Clementine, I got to ask the name of it, but my God, ladies and gentlemen, Loveland Aleworks, this beer is 10 out of 10. I was sitting here listening to his stories, and I got super distracted. I couldn't even remember what he was saying because I was fascinated with how good this beer was. So, Nick is running back in to get himself another beer. He said he doesn't do interviews unless he's had a couple of beers. Respect that. Almost kind of expected from a brewery owner. Let's be real. I sat down here with a bunch of questions for him, and I haven't asked a single one because we just hit it right off. And sorry if the beginning of the podcast is random because I didn't even know where to start. I just kind of started recording, and he didn't even know I was recording. So here we are. All need something.
Want to talk to me about something?
So what'd you get there?
This is a mix of the guava milkshake and the lever frame, the pale
The
ale.
lever frame. And remind me what this one is?
From Palisade with Love. That's just a
Palisade
mix
with
of
Love.
golden sour ale and peach juice.
From Palisade with Love, I'm going to fully endorse as my favorite Loveland Aleworks beer as of right now.
Sweet.
It is
Yeah,
just-
it came out of the barrel sour thing that we do.
Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker for orange stuff, so it's
Peaches,
maybe
oranges.
I'm basic, but
This, yeah, you should like this beer, I'm sure.
yeah,
Even the lever frame, because it's kind of citrusy
Right.
from the hops.
Do you ever make beer and you release it, and by the time it's like out there, you don't even like it because you've had to try it so many times, or is it just
No, not at
passion
all.
that?
I drink what's new usually, or what's hoppy and pale.
Yeah.
So we release a new beer almost every week.
Oh
here
wow.
at Aleworks. Almost every week, not every week,
Yeah.
but yeah, we release a new beer almost every week here. So I'm always drinking whatever the new beer is, and sometimes the new beer from last week. And
Right.
do I get tired of any of them? No.
That's good.
Sometimes I get tired of making certain beers, but I don't get tired of the beer themselves. Like sometimes the kettle sour process where we, have this like 2-stage fermentation process we do with some of the beer, and sometimes the way it smells gets on my nerves.
The way it smells.
Yeah, the way
Yeah.
it's souring up.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I love all the beer we make, and yeah, I wouldn't make a beer I didn't like. Or if I did, yeah, I mean, I guess. What's my least favorite beer? I mean, I guess when we miss the mark, when we're trying to do one thing and
Right.
it doesn't quite turn out the way like we envisioned it, that's irritating. But people don't know what you were trying to do. You just rebrand it or do something, go a different direction with the project or the beer, and like.
So people come in, order it, they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing," and you're like, "Yeah, we know. That's exactly what we tried, but not really."
Sometimes. I mean, and especially with barrel aging, you really, you kind of know what you're gonna get.
Right.
There's a train coming. It's gonna like.
Oh, is it super loud?
Yeah, your sound will be no good from like 15 seconds from now.
Okay.
It's like right there. It's literally 100 yards away.
Yeah.
So.
The woes of recording outside.
But no, I like all the beer we make, and
yeah, we can pause.
Yeah, it's a good time to pause.
That's right.
The train's still going by, so like,
yeah. Well,
a lot of times there's an engine at the back too, and it'll be like, oh, at the very end. Yeah, I can hear them coming. There's still gonna be another engine. We won't talk. We'll just stand here quietly.
No, that's okay. We'll risk it.
Okay.
So I asked Nick what the day-to-day is like at the brewery. I asked him if it was really busy and crazy, and he said no, he loved it, and he does a lot of teaching.
Yeah, right. So I do a lot of everything. When Loveland Aleworks started, I tried to do everything. I'd be making beer, answering the phone, trying to manage our accounts, our restaurants, and our draft partners, ordering stuff and doing paperwork and trying to help manage the tap room and it was just, I was spread way thin, and as we've grown and made more beer and been successful, we've been able to hire more people to help, and we have a dedicated tap room manager now. She's here 5 days a week, and she rocks it and very rarely needs help from me, which is awesome. I get two dudes that make most of the beer, Zach and Brendan, and I work with them as they need help and guidance,
right?
As far as production management and what beers we're making and how the schedule is going to go. But they've grown to be pretty dang independent.
Right.
I meet with them in the morning and check in at lunch.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Round and round we go.
Yeah. When you first opened, how many employees did you have? You opened in 2012?
Yeah, we started our first pint in 12. We spent our first $1 in 11.
Oh, dang.
When we first opened, how many employees did we have? I don't know.
And so it was more than just you when you opened?
Yeah, it was me, my wife, Zach Wilson, Zach Anderson, it's 2 other dudes.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 or 6 of us.
Right.
And our tap room wasn't open as long as it is now. We've extended hours. Bought more tanks. But yeah, I guess we're double that now as far as number of people. I used to. My brother-in-law Paul, he was here with us for a long time, helping make the beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it used to be I had somebody help me make the beer. Now there's just 2 people making the beer, and I get to check in with them and provide direction and, be a coworker and make sure they have everything they need to be successful.
Do you think the brewery scene around Loveland's changed much since you started?
Oh, and the craft beer world is in the scene or whatever you want to call it, it's constantly changing.
Exploding.
I don't know. I have trouble keeping up.
Yeah.
We just make our own beer. It's pretty rare that I go out and am drinking beer somewhere other than at work or after work. But we got a lot of new breweries here in town opening and just opened. We've had one thing that's been kind of a pain in the ass about all the breweries opening is the wastewater department here in Loveland has decided that they need to come in and audit all the breweries and make sure that we're not dumping all our hops down the drain, which I don't think anybody is. Maybe they are. We collect all the sludge and stuff out of the bottom of the kettle and the bottom of the tanks and all that trub and other shit, and We send it out. We send it out to pasture. Send it out in big containers to the farmers. They feed it to pigs and chickens. And cows.
Really?
Yeah,
The
dude.
leftover hops?
All the leftover hops, all the leftover grain, yeast, all that. We put in one big bucket, one big cutout tote.
Damn, I didn't know.
It's funny in the summertime. Like we'll fill up a tote, and it'll take the farmer to the end of the day to come and get it, and the shit will start rising like a giant loaf of bread. 300-gallon loaf of bread start coming out the top of the container, boiling over and shit.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, we break all that out and filter all that out. And they're also worried about the cleaning chemicals going down the drain and stuff. And like all these new breweries opening up, they're worried that it's gonna overtax their wastewater system.
But you don't think so, or at least you're not sure.
Well, maybe it is, but like when we opened in our building permit process, we submitted this whole list of best management practices and like, hey, this is what we do to clean a tank. This is what we're gonna do with all the solid waste. This is what's gonna get dumped down the drain, etc.
Yeah.
You know, and now these like, careful. I'm not gonna sound like I'm griping, but now like we're doing nothing different. And they sent out this huge document. And it was basically like expanded on what we submitted to them 6-7 years ago.
Right.
And so it's like, oh god. So that's one thing about the new guys that's been really annoying. Is like, so put all the breweries back on the radar, like the regulators and stuff.
Yeah, so they're coming in.
So, they think we're sending all kinds of shit down the drain, and we're just not.
This is fascinating to me. Just because there's more of you now, they feel like they have to pay stronger attention.
Yeah.
And
what's fucking hilarious is that all the home brewers in town probably make an equal amount of beer to what we make at the breweries.
Right.
Because there are a lot of home brewers now, man.
Yeah.
There's thousands.
Oh,
thousands.
Yeah.
I love making homebrew, and but I mean at the same time, like homebrewers just doing 5-gallon versions of what we're doing 300-gallon versions of.
Right. And nobody knows how they're disposing of stuff, and
who's telling them not to dump their hops down the drain?
Right.
Hey, homebrewers, don't dump your hops down the drain.
You heard it here from Nick. Do not do that. So how often? I mean, do you get audited?
Well, now this thing is just something they cranked up like right in the middle of our busy season. They sent out this document and tried to get a meeting going. But, yeah, it was just recent. We're all still in the thick of it.
Right. Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't say too much.
No,
if I can get us fucked or something.
No. Yeah. Dang. So, do you all have any like flagship beers that you've made for years and years?
Oh yeah, the first 5 beers are flagship beers.
Okay, so you have 10 on tap at a time, right?
That's correct.
And the first 5 are all your
sometimes more. The first 5 are like beers I used to homebrew and versions of beers I used to homebrew.
Right.
So the triple and barrel-aged triple, Hefeweizen, Saison, IPA, and Imperial Stout.
Oh, okay.
And then the sour with raspberries was a beer that was born here at Loveland Aleworks. So not all homebrewers.
Right. So what makes you decide, like, all right, this is a flagship? It just keeps selling like fire, or did you design those on purpose?
Well, no, those first 5 flagships we haven't really budged on.
Like from...
Well, the first 4 we haven't budged on. We added sour with raspberries like in the first year.
Oh, wow. So those have been your 5 flagships since basically you opened.
Yeah, this summer we decided to drop the triple and put Hefeweizen on.
Right.
Just so we could have more room to brew seasonal beers. Because like last summer we kept Hefeweizen on all summer. And it was like, looking at the numbers, we barely sold any triple.
Right.
And Imperial Stouts. So like we went through all of our aged Imperial Stouts and let that be a rotating tap a little bit through the summer, and then also the Hefeweizen triple swap. So like it's not like always those beers, but
right.
I'm not about to ditch triple as like what I consider a flagship. I think it's just like the tap number 1 now is a seasonal flagship. It'll be Hefeweizen in the summer and triple in the winter.
Yeah, I feel like Hefes are popular around here. I think everyone does their own.
I love Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
OG cloudy beer.
Right.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, you're good. So, I was looking at your website, and I had never heard about this, but you all do something called the Festive Ale.
It's our anniversary party.
Oh, yeah.
Just our anniversary party. It's our fucking anniversary party. Yeah, it's our anniversary party, and like we've done different versions every year, but there's all these small batch beers that we brew, and those beers influence what we make in our new beers or new products coming up.
Yeah.
Like we make there's a lot of beers we make a lot of like year in year out, like the rye extra pale ale and some of the imperial IPAs and stuff. Like we'll always make those, but then there's new beers coming in. Like we're about to release this one beer called Lemon Bar Sour Ale.
Ooh.
And it's a kettle soured beer made with lemon zest, lemon juice, lactose, and vanilla.
Oh, nice.
So it tastes a lot like a lemon bar, a lemon square dessert.
Right.
So that beer is really exciting, really fun, and it came out of this year's festival. And then also drinking other like really big, successful festival beers. Oh, the coconut porter that we make.
Yeah,
is a festival beer.
I like coconut porters. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few.
Yeah.
Grapefruit goes.
So is that every summer or?
Yeah, every summer, right in the first couple weeks of July.
Right.
I think it's like July 8th, 9th, somewhere in there usually.
Yeah.
First Saturday after the 4th, maybe? I don't know.
Something like that. You can festival, everyone. It's on the website. So
so next year should be bigger and better. We'll have more beer stations. There were big lines this year.
Yeah.
So
is it here?
Yeah, it's here on the back lot.
Oh, so. Right. That's cool. So you've been open 6 years. Does it feel like it?
No, not even close.
Yeah.
Feels like a few weeks.
It
does. It does. It's gone by so quickly.
Yeah.
Also, like 2 months after we opened, my wife and I had our first kid.
Oh,
Amelia,
man.
So she's turning 6 here in a matter of weeks, and first day at kindergarten is on Monday.
So your brewery
really
and
fast.
your
kid are about the same age.
And your first child are the same age. Well, that's a good way to remember, at least.
Oh, I would never forget either. It's been
right.
Both are so much work, kid and beer.
Yeah, that's cool. What was I gonna say? So when you got out to northern Colorado, did you ever think about moving somewhere else, or it was always just like, oh, I love it here?
No, I mean, I was like, oh, get out of the flats and into the hills, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, I came to Colorado the first time when I was, I guess that's like 10 or 11 years old, and we're here on a summer family vacation, 2 weeks, in Durango and Silverton and that whole area, and it's just like, oh man, I want to live there. Because I came from North Carolina where it's hot, muggy, sticky. Like, do not want to go outside unless you're going to the pool or the river in the summertime. To here where it's like nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And so, from that, as a little kid, I knew I wanted to live in Colorado. So,
yeah.
And then I've found my way out here, found a college that would take me.
Right? Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool. I was sold because I had a friend who went to the Air Force Academy. I had always heard about Colorado.
The Springs. Yeah, Colorado Springs is nice.
I grew up in Oklahoma, and I just took a random vacation out here with him back in 2014. And we stopped down in the Springs. We were heading up to camp around Pikes Peak.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And we got out of the car at like a gas station. It was the first time I had seen the Rocky Mountains.
No way.
Yeah. And I said...
Just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Far
and I
out.
said, I'm going to move here. And I moved about 3 months later, I think. Something like that.
Fucking transplants.
Right. Yep. I sense that will be a reoccurring thing on this podcast about whether people are natives or not to Colorado.
Well, my wife's a native, like multiple generations.
Is she mad at everyone moving in?
No. She loves everybody moving here.
Why?
No, it's sarcasm.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird thing, though. I don't know. Everybody's a transplant. It's just a matter of how many generations back you are.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of form of like state nationalism here. Being proud of Colorado, it's an awesome place.
Right.
You know,
get
coming
it.
from North Carolina, the people like, oh wait, we call those people something else. But I don't know. I love Colorado. I'll live here the rest of my life. I can't see why I would move.
Right. It's just interesting. No one in Oklahoma would ever drive around with the sticker and say,
woohoo, Oklahoma!
Yeah, I'm proud to be Oklahoma.
I'm sure there's some.
I'm going to put a bumper sticker on my car that says, like, I'm from Oklahoma, don't you forget it. It's just it was so fast. When I first moved here, I remember driving around Greeley with a Texas license plate, and I was anxious. I wanted to get a Colorado license plate as soon as possible so people wouldn't think badly of me. I wanted to fit in.
Yeah. I almost got in a crash with a lost Texan today at stoplight, Highway 34 in Taft. That's a lost Texan. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people coming here. There's a lot of people going everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's easier to move now than it's ever been.
Population's growing. A lot of people can work remotely, live wherever they want to.
Right.
So, yeah.
Even in 4 years, I've seen like 85 get way busier, and I-25. It's like
traffic. It's crazy. You know, when I moved here in '99, they were widening 34 from a 2-lane highway between here and Greeley.
Wow.
They were between 25 and Greeley. Yeah, they were widening it to be.
That's crazy.
4 lanes.
Yeah, and I think that's been part
That's
of
98.
What?
98. It was maybe. I don't know.
Whenever you moved here.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people moving here is a big reason why breweries have been able to blow up as much as they have. You got way more people here, and I think people love the craft beer scene. I mean, I definitely took to it when I got here.
People like a sense of community. They want to know their neighbors. They want to know their brewer. They want to know their favorite restaurant. I like Loveland and downtown Loveland specifically because there's not much corporate influence here in the downtown area.
Yeah.
We've got a Boost Mobile. That's like I think the only
Boost Mobile.
Yeah, that's the only corporate entity down here. There's some franchise coffee shop, but they're independently and locally owned. So
I just saw on my drive in. There's a rooftop bar now, and here.
5 tables.
That blew my mind.
It's cool up there. The view of the mountains is amazing.
Oh, really?
From up there, on that. It's at the it's at the desk chair, right?
I just drove by and I saw something to my left, and I looked up and I was like, "Oh shit! There's a rooftop bar in Loveland now."
Yeah. Hopefully, there's an elevator. I think there's an elevator. Stairs.
So, do you get a lot of people who come into the brewery and want to meet you, or they specifically ask, like?
Well, our taproom staff is really well versed in how the beer is made, and they help make the beer sometimes. But I mean, I'm pretty accessible. I'm here 5 days a week. Anytime somebody asks for me, as long as they're not selling like magazine ads, I'm happy to talk to whoever.
Yeah,
go talk to people behind the bar. I've been having a tough week shaking hands at the bar because my right hand is just super sore from all the bottling and repetitive tasks and such. And I don't know, it just my hand's been hurting. I just shook a hand, so I squeezed the shit out of it. Oh my god! Good to see you. Holy fuck, it hurt now. So I might start to pound fists or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're a jack of all trades when you're here. You just
I do what it takes, man. I do what it takes. And there's days when I get to sit in the air conditioning and days when I don't. So.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people forget the behind the scenes. Like walking back here was one of the first times I'd ever been, basically quote unquote backstage at a brewery.
That's the custodial arts. That's what I call it. I do a lot of that.
Yeah,
a lot of janitor work.
Oh yeah.
The custodial arts.
Right. So what's next for Loveland Aleworks?
Canning.
16-ounce
cans, man.
Why cans now?
Why cans? It's what everybody... Alright, so in our culture, Colorado, everybody wants to be outside, go places, whatever. Bottles just don't work.
Right.
Large format bottles aren't selling like they used to. There's so many breweries, so many choices now that and canning line technology has gotten really. I mean, this one canning line we're looking at is smaller than this table, and it cranks out a case a minute. So,
Wow.
which is slow for a big regional brewery, but for us, it's just
It's
our
good.
speed. A case a minute's sweet.
Right. Do you get people to come in and buy cans from you all, or do you only...
Oh, we've got the crowlers, the 32-ounce cans
Okay,
that the
right,
bartender
right.
will fill right there at the taps and seam up for you. But, yeah, that's the only kind of cans we're selling right now.
Right.
But once we start canning, it'll be available in the tap room and at liquor stores.
Wherever you distribute.
Yeah, which, having that, having the bottles out there already, the 22-ounce bottles, is sweet. 'Cause we got all of our, we know who's going to be able to sell our beer.
Right.
Based on how many of the bottles they sell, of how many cases they'll be able to sell the cans.
Yeah. Do you pick smaller places on purpose? Or how do you choose?
No, basically a lot of it's like, will they buy our beer and do they have refrigerated storage to sell it out of?
Two check
And then, yeah, will they pay COD? Yeah. So then after that, it's if they sell through the beer. If we're constantly like changing out old beer for fresh beer,
Oh, right.
then we
Selling.
decide we want to fire that account. Or I don't know, discontinue bottle sales with them. I guess fire's kind of a harsh word for that. But
Yeah.
if we want to discontinue bottle sales with them, we try to deplete it out by putting in fresh product and then buy back the
Right.
last few bottles or cases.
And do you have to throw those away? Or?
Yeah, it all gets
Oh,
tossed. It all gets tossed.
Dang.
Sometimes the employees will grab a couple and drink them, but like you
Right.
really, like how many? You don't want that stuff getting back out there. So you
Yeah.
get quality issues with it. You don't know how that beer's been stored or how old it really is. Like, what if some stock boy at that liquor store was putting different date codes on them or something?
Yeah, that's true. Big truck. So besides the home brewing and the ski bumming, what have you enjoyed in your 20 years out here about Northern Colorado? I guess a third thing that's like,
I don't know, the community, the people I've met, the network I've built,
Yeah.
and the folks through my engineering and brewing past, and
right.
I'm still friends with my advisor at UNC, and
Oh wow, that's cool.
yeah, the whole department there, the whole physics department there, I'd still call them all my friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just being part of this culture and part of the people that make up Northern Colorado is my favorite part. Being close to the mountains is awesome. It'd be 100 degrees down here. If you get up high enough, it'll be in the 80s.
Yep.
Nice. Mountains, the water, I don't know.
People.
The lakes.
Just like,
The lakes in Loveland are sweet.
Yeah.
To live a place where there's a lot of water.
right. Do you go, being a business owner in Loveland, when you go around the town, people recognize you all the time, or?
Not all the time, but yeah, if you get... I guess somebody will yell at me. No, it's fun going to the grocery store and seeing people from Aleworks. Yeah, I definitely I know more people now than I did in my engineering life.
Right.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I'm not a ridiculously social person though.
Right.
It's like I'm
You want your space.
through the company, through Aleworks, the brewery, and the beer culture, yeah. But actually, too, I live a block away from the brewery, so I know all my neighbors, and
Nice.
it's a lot of intertwining between the personal and professional life when you live a block from work. So,
Right.
but yeah, all my neighbors are cool. Actually, I know all my neighbors on my street, which is kind of weird. It's a little Leave It to Beaver,
Yeah, but that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. How many people live in a place where they can say they pretty much know everybody that lives on their block?
Right. No, not many.
We actually there's some people across the street that moved in I don't know, about 3 weeks ago. I haven't officially met them yet,
Yeah.
but I wave.
And you will meet them.
Yeah, sure.
My dad on his street is very much like that. Anybody that moves in, it's time to go check out the new neighbor and meet him.
I smell burning, dude. dude.
Yeah, I do too.
Burning rubber or electrical.
Something.
It's Friday. This is usually when equipment catches on fire or fucking drastically malfunctions.
Because it's been working all week.
No, just shit breaks on Fridays.
Yeah. Well, wrapping this up.
Oh, are we already done? I feel like we just started.
If people want to reach out to Nick at Loveland Aleworks, where can they find you? What's the best?
Nick at lovelandaleworks.com is my email address.
Oh, okay.
And, or reach out through Facebook or the website or just give us a call at the brewery.
Yeah, and
here
stop
every
by.
day.
Have this, the Palisade from Palisade
From
with
Palisade
Love.
with Love. We'll
Yeah.
be here for another few days.
Oh, in a few days. I'm on the tail end.
Yeah, that beer will be gone quickly.
So, all right. Well, thanks for sitting down and check out Loveland Aleworks.
Dude, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I want to say a very special thanks to Russell Isaac Long, the man responsible for writing and mixing all the music tracks used here at the NoCo. If you'd like to access any content in addition to these episodes, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TheMoreYouKnow. If you have ideas for people you'd like to hear on the show, hit us up at the email themoreyouKnowco@gmail.com. Until next time, peace!